The fourth phrase in the Phrases That Work series is what we are covering today. And honestly, this is my favorite phrase that has completely changed how I get curious when someone asks me a question. And it has really been helpful to get clear on what someone is asking of me so that I can provide them with the best answer and that we can be on the same page. I am excited to share this one with you. It comes with a great story. Here we go. Let's get into it. We are kicking this episode off with a little story time. Now, for those of you who are not aware, my husband works in hogs and he works a lot of hours. We are also in the middle of remodeling a second property. So he is consistently at work, obviously Monday through Friday, and then he works every other weekend. And on those weekends that he's not working, he is either subbing in for one of his workers or he is working on the house. So he has been extremely busy. I am so grateful that he is as handy as he is, but I also cannot wait until this house is done and we have renters moved in and we can see a little bit more of him. Now that's where story time starts. Brian was busy working and I got a text message on a Saturday morning and it asked, "Anything going on today? Anything going on? You haven't been home for 6 days. And now you're asking if anything's going on?" I literally received this text message and I spiraled out of control. In my head, I was saying things like, "Oh, are you even going to come home today? What, are you going to go out? It was in the middle of the winter. Are you going to go ice fishing? Are you thinking of continuing to work on the house even though we haven't seen you Monday through Friday and now today you're just not coming home?" And I was just frustrated and doing what I think a lot of us do. We make assumptions in our head. And so instead of replying with all that nastiness, I simply asked the question. And phrase number 4 for you today is, why do you ask? Now, when I asked him this question, which by the way, we were on text message, so I simply just wrote the words, "Why do you ask?" He came back with, "Just wondering if I should come home." And then he sent another message, which was, "Last time that I hurried home after working on a Saturday, I found out that you had taken the kids to your parents' house," which by the way is 30 minutes away, "and you were going to be gone for the rest of the day. And I thought to myself, why did I even come home?" So let's just paint this picture. I had a husband who was extremely frustrated previously, and to avoid that frustration, he was reaching out to me, "Anything going on today?" Because I am in my head, as all of us are so often, instantly thought this was going to be a negative situation. And had I responded with all of those other thoughts that I had, this could have really turned into a very negative conversation. But instead, I asked the simple question, "Why do you ask?" And he was able to say, "Well, I was wondering if I should come home." And he was getting extremely clear on whether or not I was home, so that when he did get home, his family was there and he could interact with us, instead of coming home, which is a drive, by the way. We do not live close to the farm he works at. Instead of coming home and finding out that he is disappointed again that we are not home. So he was being extremely respectful of what I was up to. And by responding with a clarifying question like, "Why do you ask?" I was able to understand his perspective before responding with what we were doing today. Before we go any further, we do have to have a quick moment of a disclaimer. When using why do you ask, and when I've suggested using why do you ask while I've been speaking and presenting, many times I have participants say, but Anne, that sounds really aggressive. And you're right. If I were to say, why do you ask? That's aggressive. If I were to say, why do you ask? That's aggressive. But I am going to smile and look the person in the eye and say, oh, why do you ask? I am getting curious about the situation. I am getting curious about the question they are asking. I am getting clear on what they are looking for so that I can respond in a clear manner. This is going to open up communication between the two of you. Now that you're on board that we are not going to be aggressive, but instead we are going to be curious and we are going to clarify using the phrase, why do you ask? Let me give you a few examples. Let's say that you have an employee who is consistently asking questions about other employees' actions. Using the phrase, why do you ask, is going to allow you to do a couple things. Number one, if there is a negative connotation coming through these questions, using why do you ask allows that negativity to stop and really give the person the opportunity to reflect on really why they are asking. And then it gives you an opportunity to pause and be sure that you are being as professional as you can in dealing with the situation. If you have an employee say, why is Brittany always late? Instead of agreeing or rolling your eyes or not responding or saying, don't worry about it, you say, oh, why do you ask? And now this person needs to reflect on why they are curious about Brittany being late. And it opens up the door for conversation. Now, let's say you are assuming that this person is being negative about Brittany, and you ask that question. Maybe they say something like, has anybody seen Brittany yet today? It's already 8:15. And you say, oh, why do you ask? And now instead of the assumption that they are going to say something negative about Brittany being not on time, they say, oh, well, her and I were working on a project at the end of the day yesterday, and we said we would finish it this morning, and so I'm looking for her so that we can tackle that project and get it done by lunch. Great. Actually, Brittany called in and let us know that she was running a little bit behind and that she's going to be here around 9. So you might want to go ahead and find something else to do, and around 9, take a look for Brittany. Now we are able to communicate and help this person by giving them a response, a full response for what they were actually seeking. I want to give you another example. Let's say you have a staff member come to you and they say, hey, what time do you think we're going to get done on Friday? And instead of saying, I don't know, we'll see what on Friday. We'll see how productive you are during the week to see if we can get out of here earlier and yada, 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 yada. And now we're kind of hyped up based on thinking the assumption that this person is expecting us to get out of work early on Friday. And we react to that assumption. But in reality, when we pause and we say, oh, why do you ask? And they say, oh, I just got asked to go to my nephew's football game, and it's 2 hours away, and it gets started at 7 o'clock. But it's parents' night, and so I want to be there with my brother. So parents' night starts at 6:30, so I'm going to need to leave by 4:30, and I just wanted to know if we were going to get done early on Friday, or if I need to take some PTO. Oh, great. Actually, based on our workload this week, I think we will be out of here before 4 o'clock on Friday, so that probably won't be a problem. But thanks for letting me know. If it gets to Friday and we're going to work till 5, I'll be sure to talk to you about that. So if you want to put in PTO, you can go ahead and do that. Do you hear how we are taking away the assumptions, and giving the person asking the question the full answer that they are looking for. This why do you ask can come in handy at work, but it can also come in handy at home. And again, remember that tone that you are using when you are asking that question. But when one of your kiddos says, "What's for dinner?" and you simply respond with, "Oh, why do you ask?" And they respond with, "Well, today at school we had tacos, and I know that it's Tuesday and we normally have tacos on Tuesday, so I'm wondering if we're having the same meal." Now you can say, "Oh, I was thinking we would have tacos. Do you want to have tacos again, or should I make something else tonight?" Now you are able to respond and answer their question instead of getting frustrated with a question that might be asked to you 5 times a week, right? Asking why do you ask gives you a sense of control in your response, and it gives them the opportunity to get clear so that they can get the answer they are looking for. Now let's remember that tone. It's got to be a curious, clarifying tone that you are using. And what if it works? What if you are able to clearly communicate with your team by just getting a little bit curious? What if you are able to reduce the number of questions that come your way because you are getting clear in what people need and answering it on the first try? And what if it works? Some of that nitpicking that might be happening at the office subsides because you are going to ask that question and expect them to get clear on why they are asking about other people, or why they're asking about other people's workloads, or why they're asking about your job. What if it works? What if it helps the culture of your team, your home, by getting clear, getting curious, and providing a full response so that everyone can walk away confidently? That wraps up the Phrases That Work mini-series. Moving into next month, we are talking all about how to set yourself up for success and get extremely consistent to help others around you feel confident in your culture. It is going to be dynamite once more. If you are wondering how you can really help this podcast grow, the number one way you can do that is share this podcast with those you think would benefit from the information, but also leave a podcast review on this platform that you are listening on. That helps others know what you are thinking about it, and it also helps say whether or not this is worth it for them to listen, and they're hearing it from someone other than me. So thank you so much for those of you who have left a review. If you have not, I would truly appreciate it, as that is how we are going to create change and impact many, many more by sharing this information out to the world. I appreciate your assistance. Go out there and create change.